first time done podcast, or have you done something similar?
No, we've not done it. We always toy with it, but we're so funny because we want structure. So we're like, right, we need to know we're doing intro.
Yeah.
And then
Here's me coming in without anything.
It's
without
just like,
anything.
let's just do it, right? Yeah.
So basically, the way I will shape this piece is we're going to talk about you as the, like, how you guys went about doing what you're doing, not just like with stables, but the industry and your experiences and where you've come from. And then we'll almost like span to like, okay, well, now you're in present day. What's coming? Like, what are we doing next? And obviously we talk about Butlers, which is obviously a fairly new menu, giving you guys something different to think about, and like as a business, how that's grown and what are the challenges with going from one shop to two, other than staff. I imagine there's 5,000 different things. Yeah, we kind of go through that. Let's go through that journey in 10 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
It should be hard, but I think you'll be okay. Try and keep it conversational in my view.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we'll just talk about everything that we did. Like, cool. In this place. And
This place is
So obviously, Paul, you kicked things off, right?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your background. Were you always in coffee, or were you always a barista?
No, not at all. So I worked in the fitness industry. So I was in the fitness industry literally from the age of like 16.
Okay.
And I was working in the fitness industry up until about the age of 31. Was living in Australia for 10 years. And basically in Australia, I noticed that the coffee culture there was incredible. Yeah, they do it so well, and in particular, like one cafe, which is where I lived in Cronulla, which is like south in Sydney, they did it really, really well. So the main thing that I noticed as I went in there, it's community. So every time you went in, everybody knew each other. The staff knew all the customers, and like everyone was like, "Oh, hey, this is the lifeguard. It was the triathlon club coming down," and I was like, "Wow, this is great." And we didn't really have that in the UK. I was a bit like you said, it's missing in the UK, and I remember when I was there, it was the quality of the coffee as well was incredible. I drank coffee here in the UK.
Better than the
so much better.
Yeah,
so much better. And then like later, as I got into coffee, I found out that Melbourne, which is where you worked, was like the capital technically of like coffee in the world. Like they just everywhere in Melbourne does coffee like really, really well. But yeah, in Sydney, the coffee was it just tasted really, really good.
What separates it in the UK? Let's talk about that quickly. What's the difference? Is it just taste, or is it just attention to detail? Is it the beans? What is it that really separates them from us right now?
Yeah, I'd say there's a few things. I think where they're quite lucky in Australia is their water. So when you've got like water going through an espresso machine, they've got really soft water. So here in the UK, we've got challenges where we have to soften our water with filters. So I think the water is a massive plus for them. But that's not just it. I definitely would say their training is incredible, isn't it? Like you see like 16-year-olds coming out to school and they all go into that sort of industry. So they're getting trained from 16-year-olds, or even younger probably, upwards. Yeah. And then they're hitting whatever, 21, and they're seriously, they're seriously talented. And I think that the one thing I learned when I come back to the UK was it was not there yet. So the Aussies basically brought this sort of speciality coffee here into London. So one of the originals was Flat White in London alongside Hamish Street Baristas, which is essentially what I learned from back, 15 years ago, I'd say it was, 15, 20 years ago. So quite some time ago, and they brought that sort of Australian coffee scene here into the UK, and it's slowly growing, but, slowly. So you're getting this new skill set that was brought over from Australia, and it's just cascading out. So that
it's kicked off in London and it's now reaching.
Most cities is where you want to go, but for specialty coffee, as for like places, suburban especially, are not quite there yet. And then that's essentially what we wanted then as well, brought in sort of ethos of this place.
Because we're cyclists, we love we'll cycle far and wide for a good coffee.
I think that's.
And when we have to go, we travel, didn't we? Before we set up this place, we had to travel high distance to find some good coffee. But yeah,
that's a perfect segue. How did you two meet?
School? Yeah, actually,
no.
It was at a coffee shop over in Warwick, and I wasn't a barista at all, so I actually just wanted to get in it because I was a cyclist and I like coffee. Two things go hand in hand. And I applied for a job in a coffee shop, and Paul was essentially my trainer. Okay. So Paul taught me everything about coffee back in the day, using his his expert knowledge, his ancient knowledge. So I could
Develop me now.
Is it?
yeah, that's the irony of it. It's like, you know, that skill set which I developed from Paul was just developed at the time.
Yeah.
And that's how we met. And Paul was a trainer. I'm honest, I thought he was alright. I thought Paul was a bit of a ballbuster.
Okay.
I thought that's all good. And that's how we met.
That's business, right?
Yeah. And but yeah, again, finish this detail. Paul's so passionate about it. And again, that's the issue. Is like people here. Is it a career for many people? That's you got to ask yourself, really. That's why you get Paul's doing to the Australians. They actually do see it as a career. When I went to my job in Melbourne, the manager was 21, and I was like, what, 24?
Yeah.
And he was a manager of the shop, and he competed and stuff, and I'm like, that's crazy. So you could see that they want to do it. It's a career. I mean, a 21-year-old here, would you get a 21-year-old manager of a shop? No. I mean, probably not. Yeah. But yeah, we met. Cool. That's how we met. So Paul.
And how did Stables come about? Where did it start? How did you get involved? Like, what's the origin story of this particular shop here?
It's quite funny, because when we worked together, I remember him joining, and I was like, I'm looking at doing my own thing, setting up a cafe, and it went on for years there. I left where he worked,
future.
and went to work for someone else, and it was always like my dream. And he jokes, he always used to say, many other used to joke, say, it was just like Paul's dream, but it's never.
It was like Paul's leaving next month. When I joined, it's like Paul's leaving like a month's time to set up his own thing. And I think it's like, what, 3 years later?
4 years?
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, so I always had plans I wanted to do it, but it was actually quite hard. So I think the biggest thing that hit me was the cost of setting up a cafe.
Yeah.
It was really expensive. So much risk, and I just wasn't there. So I essentially worked my arse off for as long as I could until I had enough. And this place came about actually a little bit by chance, because I was looking at the high streets for a cafe, but the high streets, I just found that everywhere I looked was saturated. I mean, with the high street locations important, so you want to look for those lovely little corner shops, not one in between. And I just couldn't find one, and they were very expensive. But the biggest thing was it was saturated, and I just couldn't find anything. And then essentially, I was working in a coffee shop, and the developers of this area were there at that point. And I had a friend who said that there's a place in Artfield here that's screaming out for a cafe. And I said, I've been trying to get in a cafe in your area, because there was a district centre supposed to be built. Yes. But COVID hit, so it delayed everything. But they said, look, we've got this site here. It's next to the sales suite. Do you want to come and have a look? It didn't really sound great to me at the time. Then I come down and have a look, and this had all the vinyls on the windows, so you couldn't see out. But I opened the windows, and I saw that view, and I thought, wow, what a lovely sort of location.
And it's actually not as... So I'm full hand on heart. I'm not a massive coffee drinker, but whenever I would go to a coffee shop in a central location, it's tight. Yeah, it's like close. Whereas you walk in here, it's actually quite open. And like you can move around comfortably. You're not feeling like you're encroaching on other people's conversations or encroaching on other people in the building. You could come in, get your bits together, and have breakfast or whatever, and you don't feel like you're sat on top of each other here. Was that part of the sale, or is it just the view?
Yeah, no, I think when we designed the shop, it was funny because when we set this up, it was a shell, wasn't it? So these walls were just that kind of like thermalite walls, a bit like breeze box, but less porous, and it was all sort of just grey, and it had like splashed cement on it. We had to put a lot of work in it, and we sanded it back. But when we designed the whole thing, we were literally because we worked in this industry for quite some time before, like how do we do it that works really well? And that was one of the biggest things with the high ceiling. We thought we want it to be spacious. We want people to be comfortable and not feel like you're right on top of each other. So there was a lot of thought process that went into the planning. So like the design of the bar, was there enough space behind the bar? Was it long enough with the kitchen? We almost I remember me and you, we were standing behind the bar, button to button, weren't we? And sort of like, is that enough space? No, move it back. And we made all these sort of small adjustments. Like even in here, we made sure that we didn't put too many PowerPoints in the front because we wanted people to have conversations. And that's the brilliant thing about this cafe now, which I love, was seeing what I saw in Australia and that community. I wanted that to happen here, and it happened organically. I mean, it's been 2 years now that we've been open, and you see everybody having these conversations in here. I just realised our anniversary today. It's our 2-year anniversary.
Yeah, tomorrow.
So we'll celebrate that. Yeah. So you see them having these conversations because they're not glued to their devices. We've got an area in the back for that, so you do see now organically the back has become a device. Maybe a laptop's in the back. We turn the music off on the back, which is great. But here is very yeah, lots of conversation happened and it's designed for that sort of space and the comfort.
And then what came first? Was it the roastery or was it Butters?
The roastery. Yeah. We always said when we were painting the walls, again, it was just two of us. It's mad. It's like I'm like, with our parents are dropping us off at lunch and we're making like filter coffees on like a little workbench. But we're like, I remember painting the walls, exactly. I think there's this wood pit and we're like, should we just roast coffee, babe? It'd be cool. Like, we know people would do it and they're not even like massively into it. But knowing our passion it was there, it was like, should we, and we always said, should we just roast coffee one day? And it's like really blasé. Like, just do it. And then, they came about and we needed this place to like settle. We had enough space. We needed this place to settle a bit. And it was, it's like, let's do it. Why? You can keep a bit in if you want, but it's like, why line someone else's pockets when you can like, right? From a business point of view, it was like, we love it so much. We love it so much, let's do it ourselves.
Because I roasted a little bit before when I was working in my other job, so I got the experience. And when we set the shop up, we actually did want to do it, didn't we? But we just didn't have cash. We couldn't run out of money, and it was just one of those things that we just
You would cover the
kept going eventually. And actually, when we did it, it was like a hobby, wasn't it? It was more of a hobby. But like, let's just do it as a bit of a hobby. It wasn't meant to be a serious project, essentially. It was just, let's have a bit of fun. Let's learn to roast. Let's teach you to roast. And then we got into it. I actually remember when we first got it, we got an Alio R1 bullet roaster, it's like a kilo bullet roaster. And we set it up outside with one of the original staff members that worked here, Kate and Pete. We had it on, but we didn't really know how to properly watch it. A bit like me, a bit ADHD. I don't read the menus. Just go and
We
have
so much fun. We just went.
We just like, it was going too hot and we didn't know how to turn it off. And I was just like, I tilted it upside down and we made do.
Eventually, we switched off with the plug.
Eventually we got it.
Some black coffee come out.
And then what become a hobby become quite a serious kind of,
We did a lot of reading around it. Yeah, a lot of reading around it. So we trying to educate ourselves. And that's obviously as, get working for ourselves, we had to put our own like development in place to sort of learn the ropes and, do it and kind of do it well. And we're still learning that. That's, going on bigger roaster now. We're still learning.
So the training part and the coaching part that's sort of like materialized over time, how did that start? Where did it begin? Was it just on and off cuff chance, or was it a clear strategic move from within the business?
And well, actually, it's stemmed from like, we actually put the coffee machine there in that position to have those conversations with customers.
Natural.
And and it's natural conversation as a whole. But then a lot of people were buying beans or whatever and being like, I can't get this tasting at like this at home and what have you. And obviously, like coffee machine sales did boom from COVID. So a lot of people do it at home now, especially compared to when we started. And those conversations then developed and we were like, actually, we're talking to a lot of customers about making espresso at home and brewing coffee at home. So what do we do next? Like, how can we pass on our kind of expertise to the public? So we started doing coffee training evenings. We did a cupping evening. We've done learning espresso at home and like real basics to really sort of get it.
And the take-up's been quite good?
Yeah, it has been good. Yeah. I
mean, when we did really good, we sold out within like 24 and 48 hours. The first event and the second wasn't far off that. So the demand's clearly there. We've just been so busy since to sort of put some more dates on, but we know that in the new year we're going to do some more because there is a huge demand for.
And then what about from a B2B perspective and like working with other businesses? Is that something that's been touched on and worked and you've done, or is it something that you're not interested in? Or?
No, yeah, we do. So again, same sort of thing goes back to what we were talking about earlier when we cycle far and wide for like good coffee. That's a problem, really. Like, finding good coffee around, say, even this area in Berkshire, is quite challenging. And even we used to say that there were so many places that we used to go to that might have done something really well. So they might have done really good like food, but we were like, such a shame. The coffee is just not quite there. And we essentially we're like, there's a gap there. We really need to get out there and try and help these other businesses do better with their coffee offering. So, for us, it was not only do we obviously have a great coffee, which helps. The biggest thing that I've always said to all baristas is you can have some of the best coffee ever, but if you don't have the training to represent that coffee, it could taste awful.
I'm going to come at you with a very neutral view now. Obviously, the difference between Heart of Melbourne coffee and the greasy spoon coffee that you would get if you were going to get your breakfast one morning or whatever, has that, and I look at it from a business perspective, anytime I look at advertising or I look at branding or I look at design and I go, oh, I'm not too sure about that because that's my passion. That's what I've been doing for 15 years. Do you think it's kind of soured your view on other people's coffee and like the general public wouldn't know? Or do you think they know when they come in and they taste this coffee that you serve?
What we hear a lot. I mean, we even had it this morning. We had one of our good friends and customer here, John. He comes in and he was like, I had a coffee yesterday somewhere else because he was out and out. And he said it was awful. And he said the problem is you can't go anywhere now without finding a coffee anywhere close to ours. And that's the problem, is that it's a good problem, but it's almost like we've set the bar in terms of what a great coffee should taste like. And then I think that the general, I mean, it's very hard to answer that question definitively, but
and without subjectiveness,
exactly,
because it's your business,
exactly. But we can go to places and immediately go nut. Like we can see the bean, we can see the brand, or we can see what it looks like just from like if it's like nuked, if the beans are nuked and they're dark roasted. I remember a guy pitching us once in a coffee shop, it's the best coffee ever. I was like, I don't think so, mate. Like it's not.
Yeah, coffee beans are the color of our t-shirt.
Yeah, it's black. It's like
but it tastes good.
The general consumer side, I'd say generally, most aren't there yet. Not here in the UK. They're like coffee's coffee.
Yeah.
But there is better. And I think that, the more this consumer gets out there, a bit like a fine wine, goes, okay, there's a cheap wine and there's a good wine and I can taste that difference. Till we get them there, they'll start understanding it. But I still drive past, your major brands, big chains, who, in my opinion, it doesn't taste great.
Yeah.
It's not a speciality. It doesn't taste great.
Yeah.
But you still see a lot of people sitting in them because people don't know any different.
Do you know what's quite nice though is that you're catering not just for those experts in the coffee industry or those that have got let's call it a fine palate, right? Like where they, the connoisseurs of coffee, you're not just catering for those, but you also cater for, Marjorie down the road who just wants to go for a coffee with her mates or just wants to go for a coffee with a baby.
Yeah.
You're able to cater for both markets and within a nice space, whether it be here or at Buckler's part of the newer venue. I find that quite nice from a sales perspective. Let's talk it from a business perspective.
Yeah,
you're not cordoned off into a market where you're just serving people that love high-end coffee. Do you see what I mean? You've got this ability to be able to serve both, which is really nice.
Some is even that extreme that they don't do like syrups.
Yeah,
they won't do syrups. Yeah, some won't do syrups, but like we know, like the UK population do like a vanilla latte. So it's like that. So that's where we're trying to be open, and that's where you want that community vibe as well. Yes, you can be specialty coffee and have like these really cold environments, which are really cool and quirky and quite vibey. But at the same time, we do want to have that. The community kind of was at the heart of it. And again, that stems from going back to like the whole Australian thing. It's like they would cater for everyone, even still, because that's what they want. They want that community. They want people in, and again, people through the doors at the end of the day, don't they? So that's what we
leads nicely into Crowthorne and Buckler's. And how long has Buckler's been a thing? How long have you been over there? Give us a bit of a story of that site in particular. Was it stressful?
Yeah.
Another site?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So it's interesting because my dream was to have a cafe. That was it. Just one.
Yeah.
That was it. And it changed almost overnight, realistically, because, well, the roastery was before that. So the roastery took on, so in a weird way, like we've got the cafe, then the roastery was like a separate sort of business in itself, really. So we were like having to not only operate the cafe, but then we were having to keep up the demand of roasting our own coffee for our own cafe, for our retail shelves, because customers were coming in for our coffee, and that took off like crazy. So we were like, wow, we need to spend a lot of time roasting. And bear in mind, we only had a 1 kilo coffee roaster, so it was tough to keep up with that. We were having to sometimes roast 40 hours in a week just to keep up with the demand. And then we had wholesale clients, so other cafes that, we supply our coffee to, that started coming on board. So we were like, Jesus. So that was challenge number 2. So he was trying to operate 2 businesses. And then
three, really.
Well,
going all dead. Yeah, 2 there.
Yeah. And then someone who was a friend of ours said, look, there's a place in Crowthorne they're tendering for it. Do you want to go and have a look for it? And I remember saying to Scott, I'm not, we're not ready for it, but he's just go have a look at it. So all right, I'll have a look. And basically it was right outside this amazing park and a forest in Crowthorne called Buckler's Park. And in a community hub called Buckler's Park Community Hub just opened. So it's got everything. It's got the whole sports hall, the tennis courts, and then they've got like a nursery where you drop your kids off. And I saw it and it was so busy. It was like sometime in June. Yeah, it was really busy. And I remember saying to you, didn't I? I said, "Oh, do you know what? You should come and have a look at this." Like, it's actually got me raising curiosity. And essentially, we went through the whole process, went for the tender, and we got it. And yeah, it certainly, for me, well, I guess for you as well, right? We were like, wow, this is a lot of work because we can't be everywhere. And when we were here all the time. So we're always here.
Have eyes on the shop.
We know the standards, and that's the thing. I think that what worked really well here. We had a lot of customers say, your staff, they're so amazing, they're so friendly, and And someone said, it starts from the founders. It's that kind of culture, and we kind of set what service should look like here. And it was really hard because then when we set up a second one, I think we kind of were like, right, we set it up. We kind of had a manager to kind of operate it, but we weren't always there, were we? And sometimes we felt that it was challenging trying to keep those standards the same across two businesses, because essentially it's the same brand. So yeah, it's been challenging. But we're
And are you there now? Do you now split yourselves and one goes here and one goes there, or do you do like a bit more shifts in?
Yeah. We try and split it. Again, it's actually funny enough, Paul lives in Crowthorne now, so it's like I live in Arfield, Paul lives in Crowthorne, so it's like actually it works quite well. Yeah, we can sort of check in on each other's shop large on the businesses. But yeah, I tend to be over there a bit more. Like I'm like the manager, as it were. So I'm working in it like as an owner. So yeah, it's a lot of work. People are the hardest part.
Yeah.
But no, that's the same in any challenge. It is in most business.
Any business.
It is in any business.
Yeah.
But they would try and have like the same ethos and again, quality coffee. Well, we're quite lucky we have our own in-house.
Yeah.
No, I don't think anywhere else can really say they have their in-house roasted coffee, which is roasted down the road at their other shop. So it's a real sort of unique spot in itself with that. But yeah, has its challenges.
Franchise 2027.
Do you know? Do you know what? I never say no. It's I think for us, like our big plans at the moment, the roastery is we now got two bullet roasters now, so we've got a 2 kilo capacity, which is not enough. Everyone always says you'll outgrow those roasters, but eventually our plan, I think, long term will be to look to get a slightly larger coffee roaster. So that we can keep up with the demand, and obviously there's more opportunities. There's more opportunities coming with wholesale. So yeah, we get more and more sort of other cafes coming on board. We're going to need something bigger. So I think that's the focus. And then essentially after that, I'm always open to looking at maybe the idea of it. Again, the same challenge with franchises, keeping that standard the same, and that's the challenge. I always look at probably the best at what they do it in the world is McDonald's, right? You go. Have you watched the Founder? Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
But without watching that, you see that. Yeah. We know you go into a McDonald's, you order a Big Mac. Yeah. It's the same everywhere you go. It's the same.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge, particularly in coffee and training, is keeping that skill set so that coffee it tastes the same and is represented the same way. So yeah, that is one of my sort of biggest fears about going down that franchise route. But yeah, I think there's demand for it. I mean, we've even got people who come into our cafes and like, we'd love to do what you do and love to use your coffee. So there's demand, but I just think right now, just baby steps. And
it stems from what I guess we started as well. Like it was coffee. Yeah, we do cakes, great. We do the toasted stuff. Yeah. And brunch, but like to do coffee expertly is kind of what we set out to do.
It's kind of our USP.
So yeah, having that across and having that instilled is, again, we go to some places you might go.
Amazing breakfasts.
Yeah, maybe breakfast. Or you go to some coffee shops, again, having different baristas even. I feel like having a haircut, right?
Yeah.
You go to you might go one time and it's like the barista does a good job. You might go another time, you have a different barista that tastes a bit different. Yeah. But like having a haircut, might prefer someone in particular. So it's a bit like how we can train our staff. And again, people that even use our coffee. Yeah. And that's a unique skill set of us. It's like, what's what we want to give to our wholesale clients is how to get that sort of excellence in terms of taste, texture, milk steaming, whatever you want to look at, across the sort of the stables or the brat, as it were. So that's what we sort of instill and go out to do. But yes, that's the challenge, real challenge.
Let's wrap up with December the 9th. It's your birthday.
Yep.
Will you be going out to have a coffee to celebrate? What will you do? Should no, seriously, will you spend some time like just going, actually we've done a good job 2 years here and actually celebrate together, or do you just
we time?
Do you know what? Yeah,
but because you've got Christmas, you have got a little bit of a break.
Yeah, I think. So we just had our staff Christmas party a few days ago,
Nice.
which was amazing. We had it here. We thought we'd do something a bit different. Whereas instead of going out, we'd have the food brought in, and it was great. But the truth is that we work so hard, don't we? Like we don't really have time sometimes to even think about things like this. But we say it so many times, don't we? We say, "Christ, we've done so much in these last 2 years.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous."
3 new businesses, really.
3 new businesses in 2 years. I mean, we work 7 days a week most weeks sometimes, don't we? I mean, if we get day off, it's a luxury, to be honest. And yeah, we don't take sometimes the time to appreciate kind of what we've done, but we always say we should.
Yeah.
But again, even though we're here now today, it's even like today's hit, and I'm like, oh Christ, yeah, it's our birthday. I haven't even had time to think about celebrating it in the shop at shop level. We've been that busy with other things. But yeah, I think we definitely deserve a little something. I think this year we deliberately wanted to have a break because we're exhausted, we're burnt out. So I think from Christmas Day onwards, we're going to take a week off.
Nice.
And in the lead up to that, things will start to sort of die down. And I think we definitely deserve to go out and have something.
Take a bit of time. Yeah.
Beer and
beer instead of coffee.
But yeah, it's actually, we've got some exciting news. We're creating a coffee stout soon. So on the
Coffee stout?
Yeah, we've got a coffee stout coming.
Yeah, everyone.
Amazing.
With Bearwood Brewery.
Okay.
Up the road there. So we're going to create a coffee stout with them on the 22nd.
Amazing.
On the 22nd.
Yeah, so
that's exciting. So maybe we can have a coffee stout.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe have a coffee. So it'd be nice.
Let's wrap up your first official podcast.
Yeah, thank you for starting.
Well done. Nice. Congratulations. Well done. Nice. Well done.